How you doing up there? Great. Can you hear me? Can you hear me up there? Yeah. All right, fantastic. My name is Michael Effron. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Invesco. And tonight I'm here to talk to you really about two things. Number one, why Invesco? Who is Invesco? Why should you care about Invesco? Why is Invesco important? And number two, how can we help you become more confident with your securities business? Now, who is interested in getting their securities license? Somebody tell me why. Why do we want to get our securities license?
Make more money.
Anyone? To make more money. Say again?
Have more clients the right way.
Have more clients the right way. Now to help people. Who said that? Yes, to help people. Because at the end of the day, that's what we do, right? We want to help people. Now, just a little bit about myself. I am not from New York. I am from Boston, which is a big difference. It's all right, I'm used to it. I'm used to everywhere. Now, I've lived in Boca Raton for the last 20 years.
All right.
Okay, with my wife, Michelle, my two boys, Matthew and Mason.
Go Patriots.
That's where I'm going. Give me a second, I'll get there. You know, so growing up in Boston, I parked my car in Harvard Yard, like all the good Bostonians do. But I did go to college, and I learned to speak properly. So you may not hear the Boston accent, but it's not a New York accent. And I know that's not popular down here, but that's okay. And we did all see the Super Bowl recently. We did, right?
Yeah.
Any Patriot fans anywhere?
Right.
All right, I got one. One. That plus me, that's two. Okay, so we're happy about that. I read a very interesting article, and you can. It's probably difficult to see up there, so I'm just going to take a second and read it to you slowly and carefully, because if you haven't thought, can you go a little bit there? If you haven't thought about why, like truly why you need to have your securities license, I read this article and I said, you know what? This sums it all up in about 45 seconds or less. We've heard lots of good reasons, but this is the most compelling reason I have ever seen. Okay, so let's just walk through this carefully. The subject, the title of this article is, "We're on the verge of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world." What are they talking about when they say that? Anybody know? The greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. What does that mean?
Baby boomers.
Baby boomers. Okay, hold it right there. We are currently witnessing the great transfer of wealth from the greatest generation to the baby boomers. Now, who is the greatest generation?
First.
Not the baby boomers. They're the ones that came before the baby boomers. And there's actually a gentleman by the name of Tom Brokaw that coined that term. So according to Bank of America, the greatest generation refers to the generation in the U.S. that experienced the Great Depression. Okay? And then they fought in World War II, and that phrase, the greatest generation, was coined by Tom Brokaw. So the authors of this article point out that a second and even larger wealth transfer will occur from the baby boomers to their heirs. Okay? So first is the greatest generation to the baby boomers, and then the baby boomers to their heirs. Are you with me?
Yep.
Does that make sense? Okay. Now, when will this transfer take place? For those of you sitting in the front, you can read that very good. That's what I'm see. Did everybody hear that? That's going to take place over the next 30 to 40 years. Guess what? How are you going to take advantage of that over the next 30 to 40 years? What's the first thing you have to do in order to take what? Get your securities license. That's right. Your Series 6. Oh, sorry. Did you see the Patriot jerseys there?
Yeah, boom.
All right, good.
Let's go.
Okay. So, here's where the story gets interesting. the great transfer will see a handover of about $12 trillion from those born in the 20s and 30s to the baby boomers. Okay? $12 trillion. But the boomers are expected to transfer $30 trillion. $30 trillion. Okay? And that's going to happen again over the next 30 to 40 years. In fact, there's 12 million global high net worth investors. Those 12 million have investable assets in total that approach $46.2 trillion. And all of that wealth is going to start transferring over the next 30 to 40 years. So who are the people that are positioned to start to help families and generate income and a legacy?
We are.
Anybody in this room that wants to get their securities license. Does that make sense? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. That's pretty amazing. Now, in North America, there's 3.7 million high net worth investors, totaling $12 trillion. Asia Pacific comes in a close second with 3.68 million high net worth investors and $12 trillion. Here was perhaps the most jarring statistic in this article. Are you ready?
Okay.
Only 4 in 10 retirees in the U.S. uses a financial advisor.
Wow.
4 in 10. So here's the bottom line to sum this up. We have $46 trillion transferring from the greatest generation to the baby boomers, and from the baby boomers to their heirs over the next 30 to 40 years. And only 4 out of 10 of them have a financial advisor. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that A, that's a lot of money, right? And B, 6 out of 10 of them don't have a financial advisor. So again, if you're thinking about a career in the financial services industry, for whatever your reason, whether it's to help families, to help your families, or both, guess what? Has there ever been a time better than what we have right now?
Nope.
Has there?
No.
Absolutely not. And guess what? All you have to do is study for your Series 6, pass your Series 6 exam, and then you can start going after what's going to be the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. Yeah. Right? Any thoughts, comments, or questions about that?
Nice puppies.
Oh, thank you. They're all Patriot fans too. It's hard to raise a family in South Florida and make them Patriots fans. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. That's okay, you don't care. All right, that's fine. Okay, so Invesco. We're going to talk about Invesco here for just a little bit. Does anybody know anything about Invesco? No. Nothing. Gotta know something. Mutual fund company. Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody know what our logo is?
The mountain.
The mountain. You know, that's a real mountain. That is a mountain called Amadablam. It's in the eastern Himalayas, right behind, or right in front of Mount Everest. You heard of Mount Everest?
Yep.
You guys are like sitting on Mount Everest back there. Yeah, okay, so here's what I wanted to show you. A couple of very interesting things. For those of you that may not be familiar with Invesco, and I asked that question for a reason. Once you get your securities license, you know, you don't have to know everything, okay? You don't have to know everything. One of the things at Invesco that we're most proud of is our relationship with Primerica, okay? Our relationship with Primerica goes back over 30 years. So we understand the business, okay? We understand how to be a good partner, all right? So over 30 years of history, and you can count on us to help you and to use our resources to help you. But why should you care? Why should you care? One of the reasons why you should care is this article that was published over the weekend. Does anybody read the Wall Street Journal or USA Today or Barron's? Yes, maybe no? Yes. If you get your Series 6 securities license, you should be reading, not cover to cover, but but just maybe the front page, just to know enough to be dangerous, because you have experts here that can help you along the way. And it's important for this reason. One of the things that they ranked, and I'm going to have you read this right here, over the weekend, what did Barron's rank in their publication? The what?
The best mutual fund.
Go ahead, say that louder.
The best mutual fund families.
Thank you. Okay. Every year, that's what Barron does. They put together a list of the best mutual fund families. And I'm sharing this tonight is because the main reason is because when I asked, does anybody know anything about Invesco, very few hands went up. And so, if nothing else, when you leave here tonight, you're going to remember two things. Number one, the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind is about to begin over the course of the next 30 to 40 years, right? Okay, we saw that. The second thing is one of the biggest and best investment firms in the entire industry is here to help with all of their resources, okay? And so what's fascinating about this is Barron's ranked the top 65 mutual fund companies over the last 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years, okay? It's a little bit hard to see from back there, but can anybody see where Invesco ranked? Invesco ranked number 3 last year, which is good, out of 65. How about over the last 5 years? Number 3. And finally, for the last 10 years, number 4. So what does that mean? That means that there's an asset manager that has almost $1 trillion that we manage for our clients around the world. We have 7,000 managers located in 22 different countries around the world. Why is that important? Why is that important? If you're going to be investing your money outside of the United States, wouldn't it be nice to know that you're investing with a firm that actually has people on the ground in China or in India if you're going to be investing your money there? Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, here's an interesting fact. I'm going to ask it in the form of a question, okay? In China and India, combined today, how many people do they have under the age of 25?
1 billion.
2 billion.
1 billion.
So I heard a billion like 3 times. It probably feels like a billion. It's a big number. It's close. It's 650 million. 650 million people in China and India under the age of 25 today. That's amazing. Now, what do people under the age of 25 like to buy? Cars, electronics, cell phone, everything! Everything! People under the age of 25 like to buy everything, don't they? Of course they do. And so when you start to think about investment opportunities and how we help people achieve their financial goals, I think it's important to realize that while we have great companies in the United States, guess what? There's lots of great companies outside the United States too. And there are certainly unique investment opportunities that we can find outside the United States. But if you don't have people on the ground in those countries looking for those opportunities, are you going to be able to find the best possible investment opportunities for your clients?
No.
Probably not. What about the size of a company? Does that matter?
Yeah.
Why is that important? Distribution. Let's stick with that for just 1 second. What does distribution mean?
Patriots.
That's right. That's right. But what does distribution mean?
Kickback.
More clients. Absolutely. Many of you don't know this, but I want to share a very quick story. Okay. Invesco is a very large company with lots of employees located around the world. But the single most important thing that we do as a firm, and we are a publicly traded company, our ticker symbol is IVZ. That's our stock, which trades on the New York Stock Exchange. The single most important thing that we do is work with Primerica each and every day. I'm going to give you an example. Yeah, you can clap. And that's the truth. And here's the reason why. Somebody said distribution. I wasn't even going to sort of bring this up, but it's a very, very powerful and important point. 5 years ago, Invesco purchased a company called Van Kampen. For those of you that have been around a little while, you might remember Van Kampen. I was actually a Van Kampen employee. And the reason that Invesco purchased Van Kampen was very, very special. At the time, Invesco was a large sort of institutional company, which means most of the relationships, or another word is distribution, was through financial institutions, large companies, pension plans, endowments, not individual investors. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Invesco, thank you. Invesco had about $500 billion in assets. But when they went to buy this company called Van Kampen, there was something very, very special about Van Kampen. Almost all of the money that Van Kampen managed was distributed through the relationships with financial advisors. And there wasn't a more important relationship at Van Kampen than our relationship with Primerica. So, while Invesco was very, very good at building investment products, creating investment products, every possible investment product you could think of, they could build it. There was something missing. And what was it? It was the distribution. So guess what? At Van Kampen, we didn't have any institutional business. Guess what we did? Everything that we did, every dollar that we raised was through our financial advisors, through Primerica. So if you take a step back, if you're Invesco, you're one of the largest companies in the world, but most of the assets and the relationships are with big institutions. And then you see a firm like Van Kampen, where almost all of the relationships are through great firms like Primerica. Guess what Invesco saw? What did they see? Potential. They saw Primerica. They saw the engine that is Primerica. They said, you know what? We're going to buy Van Kampen. And one of the main reasons why they bought Van Kampen was to have access to Primerica.
Wow.
Woo!
Okay? That makes sense? And that's true. And so now when you fast forward 5 years, Primerica sent $1 billion last year to Invesco.
Wow.
Just in mutual fund business. That doesn't even take into consideration all of the business that was done inside of the variable annuities. Okay? So I mention that because it's so very important to understand just how much of a role Primerica plays in the day-to-day business at Invesco. So we're one of the largest companies in the world, one of the 10 largest companies in the world. But at the end of the day, the single most important thing that we focus on is our relationship with everybody at Primerica. Wow. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I wanted to do in the very limited time that I have left. Number one, I wanted to circle back and just remind everybody that you are at the beginning of something historic. Everybody in this room probably has different dreams and goals and aspirations for their lives. Hopefully, what we heard tonight will come true, is that we have an opportunity to help people, to build a legacy, not only for yourself, but for others. The only way that you can do that is to get your securities license. And guess what? If you do, you are almost guaranteed 30 to 40 years of fantastic opportunity. Remember what that article showed us. How many baby boomers out of 10 do not currently work with a financial advisor? 6 out of 10. What more could you possibly need or want? You've got $46 trillion rolling over the next 30 to 40 years, and you have baby boomers that need advice. All you have to do is work hard, get your Series 6, and you're in the game. Now you have your chance. The rest will be up to you and how hard you choose to work. For most of us, that's all we ask for. is just a chance, just an opportunity to make a difference, right? Would you agree with that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And then my second and final point is this. You're not alone. You have unbelievable resources at Primerica. Unbelievable leadership. What a great company from top to bottom Primerica is. But guess what? It doesn't stop there. You have a partner in one of the largest asset management firms that's been dedicated to working with Primerica for over 30 years. And perhaps the single most important reason that Invesco purchased another firm called Van Kampen was to have access to everybody in this room and everybody around the country. So when you stack all of those things together, the opportunity that you have in front of you is unbelievable and unparalleled.
Wow.
Unparalleled. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so here it is. I'm going to throw this out to the room. I hope it's okay. If not, I'm going to throw it out anyway. One of the things that I love to do is celebrate success. Woo! Right? We love to do that. Yeah, go ahead. Woo! So here it is. In front of the whole room. I'm sure it's being recorded too. I've had the privilege to be a member of the Boca Resort for the last 17 years. Anybody been there?
Yes.
Cool spot, right? Really cool spot. For those of you that get your securities license in the next 2 months. 2 months.
Three.
No, I was going to say 6 months, but
6
Fernando said 2 months.
Hey, six.
Okay, I meant 1 month.
6 months. Thank you.
By tomorrow. In the next 2 months. 3?
Three.
All right. How about Fernando will decide how long? You let me know.
Okay.
3 months is good. Okay.
3, Fernando.
I'm sorry. The reason that we're gonna do